up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna start a new series called Underrated versus Overrated. So this to me is just another version of a dupe video, but I'm just trying to enlighten you on products that a lot of people say are really good but are underrated, because I feel like the higher end thing always trumps it because it's higher end, so people think higher end and automatically think it's gonna be better. So let's see how this goes. I got a few products because I'm me and we know I talk a lot, so let's get into it. So some of these you have seen on my channel before, but I just wanted to reiterate because I feel like, you know, they still don't get as much attention as, you know, other things do. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with the primers. Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna start off with one powder just because, like, my girl It's Glam XO Beauty on Instagram it made me think of this idea when she does her products that she thinks are underrated for her TikTok, and then she puts the same content on Instagram. So we're gonna start off with her one thing, and then I'm going to all the other things that I feel like are underrated versus like the overrated high-end product. So it's basically another version of my side chick makeup, but I, you know, I guess go a little more in depth or show you stuff that I don't normally show in that. Oh good God, y'all, looks like it's raining real bad. Is it raining real bad, Adrian? Or is the windows just really dirty?
Windows are dirty.
Anyway, so let's start off with this. So this is underrated versus overrated. So we'll start off with the underrated thing. I actually found this out about this product through It's Glam XO Beauty as well. So another reason I want to start off with this and shout her out. This is the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Clarifying Finishing Powder. I have the shade, what shade is it? Medium Tan. I think this was the deepest one I could find too, so you know they're starting to take the Physicians Formula route, but since they're owned by Physicians Formula, I'm not surprised. Anyway, this is what it looks like on the inside. It's a nice powder to finish setting your face, but I like to use this set underneath the eyes because y'all know I have a lot of acne when it comes to my cheek area. They say when you eat a lot of sweets, that's where you get acne from, so I'm not surprised I have acne on my cheek area. But since it's supposed to be clarifying, have clarifying properties, and I've been using it to set my concealer underneath my eyes and on my cheeks to help with that, along with the other places I just normally set my face because, you know, I'll be on automatic. But this is actually a really nice product, but I feel like people don't really talk about Wet n Wild anymore. But in all fairness, I feel like they haven't been really doing a lot to get people's attention, so that's probably why. But she talked about this. She was raving about how nice it was. I found it at Walmart and ended up buying it, and that's right, it is an underrated product because all the drugstore girlies I watch, I haven't seen none of them talk about it. I haven't seen Juicy Jazz talk about this. I haven't seen Makeup by A. Marie. I know she changed her name to something else. I don't remember what it is. My apologies, but it's like I don't remember her talking about this. I don't remember Katrina talking about this. I forget her name here on YouTube, but I don't remember seeing any of the girls I watch that dedicate themselves to drugstore and affordable makeup talking about this product. So that's why I was like, well, maybe I need to tell y'all about it. So let me zoom you, let me scope you in closer so you can see it. This is what it looks like if you catch it at Walmart. But yeah, like, it's fire. It's definitely underrated in my personal opinion, just like my girl It's Glam XO Beauty said. So let's check it out. Now to me, this is definitely overrated. I know Babs Beauty, or Stephanie, she doesn't like this product. She said like it was overrated and she was disappointed in it for a luxury makeup item. This is the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. I know what's her name, Teresa's Dead loves this product. I just think it's okay. I mean, it does a good job. It looks nice. As you can see, I used it quite a bit, but I mean, like, for the price this cost, I was gonna use it quite a bit. I think this is like a $70-$80 powder, and like for what it is, I definitely think it's overrated. You can buy the one from what's her name, from Mother, that's just as nice and looks just as nice, and the little dome doesn't cost nearly as much as this. I mean, you probably might not get as much product as you do in here. This is 8 grams or 0.28 ounces. I forgot how much is in Mother's, but since Mother always has a sale and they don't ever have a sale, and then I feel like this powder is overrated for what it is, I wanted to put it in here because it's like, I feel like the price of this is outrageous for what it does. There's so many other powders that do just as nice. Like, you can buy the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush one. You can, like I said, buy the Pat McGrath one. You can buy the LYS one. So there's so many other powders that you put underneath the eye that's priced that I feel like you don't have to do as much work with and don't have to pay nearly as much for. So this is definitely overrated in my personal opinion. But as we know, it's my video, so these are just my personal opinions. You don't have to necessarily agree with it. Doesn't change the fact that it's my opinions. It's okay. Thank you. So the next one I have to talk about is a primer. So overrated versus underrated. Now I have seen the girls talking about this. I found out about this from Juicy Jazz. This is the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer. This is supposed to be like a dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. So this one I think is under $10 at Walmart, because that's where Hard Candy is sold if you didn't know. And it's a really nice primer. I feel like it does pretty good as the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip is, and it's because there's so many dupes out here for this now. I feel like it's kind of overrated now, because it's like they were the innovators, and I feel bad saying it's overrated, but it's like if I can get the same thing for like $6, you kind of are overrated. Not to mention e.l.f. has come out with 2 or 3 versions of the same primer as well, but I forgot and left mine in the bathroom. I mainly want to shout out hard candy because I feel like we all talk about e.l.f. a lot, but I feel like we hardly ever talk about hard candy, so I wanted to go ahead and just mention this. I think it's great for $6. I think it's just as good as this one for $6. I know some people say they think it's better. I think it's just as good, and you know, if you don't want to spend the high price tag at the Sephora sale, you can go ahead and get this. So I would definitely recommend trying it out, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it, so that's why it's underrated versus overrated, because everybody talks about this. And this one will save you coins. Gas is $5 a gallon, which again, I told y'all, that's why I've been doing dupe videos for a while. Aside from the fact, you might not just not want to spend that type of money, and if you can get something for less that does just a good job, then why not? Next, underrated versus overrated. Again, we have the Hard Candy Smoothing Primer Balm versus the Tatcha the Silk Canvas. Now, I don't think Tatcha Silk Canvas is overrated. Y'all know this is actually my second one, so I have used up a whole one. I love it. It's just more of, I know a lot of people don't want to spend the price point, and this one is a little bit thicker than this one. So if you like a thinner formula, I feel like you would like the Hard Candy one better. So this is what it looks like on the inside. As you can see, I've hardly used mine, but I don't really like the fact that you have to dip into it. I prefer the liquid silk canvas. So now that they came out with it, I like that a whole lot better than the balm one. But this is a great primer for what it is. I actually like this one better than the e.l.f. one. I know everybody likes the e.l.f. one. That's one e.l.f. product I don't like. Like, I don't like their putty primer. I don't know. I didn't like the consistency of it. It felt similar to this one, but I don't know. It's something about this one I feel like just does a better job than that one, in my personal opinion. I still love e.l.f. I still love plenty of the e.l.f. things. This one just is my cup of tea, and I feel like, again, people don't really talk about hard candy that much, so that's why I wanted to highlight this one in particular. Now, the Tatcha Silk Canvas, let me see how much you get versus how much you get in this. You get 20 grams in this, or 0.7 ounces. In the hard candy, it does it say on here? Oh, you get 0.78 ounces or 22 grams. So you get a little bit more in the hard candy for a whole lot less than you do with the Tatcha one. Now, like I said, I don't think the Tatcha one is overrated at all. I love the Tatcha one. This is my second one. And as you can see, I have been dipping into it. It's just, you know, for the gimmicky part of all when it comes to the video, I just had to call this overrated because since it's Tatcha, everybody's going to talk about it, whereas people aren't really going to talk about hard candy. So it's not necessarily that this is overrated. It's just it went with the theme of what's going on, and I want to shout out the hard candy one, so that's why I think. So that's one product I don't feel like it's overrated. I love it. It has skincare benefits and ingredients to it that the hard candy one isn't going to have, which I assume is what you're paying for, aside from the fact that they innovated and started that on their own. So give props to where it's due, but I, you know, just wanted to shout out a cheaper option because I'm gonna say it again, gas $5 a gallon, girl, ain't nobody got time. Okay, now let's get into some face products. Now, one of these is kind of controversial, so let me get the controversial one out the way. I know some people were talking about they didn't appreciate the brand duping this other brand, and it was their idea and all that, but I'm telling you the same thing I told you in the video where I used the product and compared their products to a whole bunch of other higher end expensive products. A lot of times these luxury brands don't think about people who look like me. So when a cheaper brand comes and dupes them, it's like you had the opportunity, you came up with it, you chose not to include everyone or be minimalistic in the way you included everyone. So it's like, I don't feel bad trying the other option for the other people that look like me who were just 2 shades darker that you didn't think were worthy of making a product for. So I'm not going to feel bad about talking about this product. I didn't feel bad when I did the review of the dupe product. And that's that. Moving on. So, the underrated versus overrated. Although I feel like this has actually been getting a lot of hype. I heard it was like viral on TikTok. It's finally back in stock though, which is why I want to talk about it in this video. I saw them post on Instagram literally yesterday about how this was finally back in stock at Target. And you know, Target has Ultas and have Ulta inside their store, so you might be able to get an extra little discount, or you can just buy it from Target if they're having a good sale. Either way, it's not like it's not an affordable product. I think this is $15, and y'all know Miss Charlotte Tilbury and her Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have the shade Deep 6.5. She does have more shades than they do, but I feel like their shades run deeper, so that's why I like theirs a little bit better. Plus, I feel like this one actually gives more coverage. So, the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter Glow Booster for Radiant Skin, I have in the shade 610 deep. Now hers is 6.5, and you see how much deeper the e.l.f. one is than hers. And mind you, I think this shade came out after she launched it, so I think this is like the second group of shades. Now I know you're not supposed to just wear this as foundation, but it's like if I choose to, I know I can wear this one as foundation for sure. Whereas this one is like I'd have to make sure I get a powder that oxidizes to make it deeper. This one I can just wear on my face. Y'all saw in the video, if you watch my video on this product, I love this product. I like lots of e.l.f. products. This is by far one of my favorite dupes from e.l.f. though. I love it. It gives more coverage, and then you can put the camo powder on top to like lay it down if you have oily skin like I do, because that's a really good powder for that. I feel like that camo line is really good for people with oily skin. Like you can use the camo concealer with it, and then you can put this on and put the camo powder on, and you can be out the door and go. Whereas with this, I feel like this one I use as a primer, so I use this as a glowy primer underneath to give my foundation a radiant look if I put on a matte foundation. So I mean, for what this is and the price point and the fact that I feel like the shades aren't exclusive as could be, but I mean, like I feel like Charlotte didn't do that a lot of time. So I feel like this is just overrated for what it is, especially when e.l.f. came in the door automatically giving shades that are deeper and work better for people of my skin tone. But remember, since I am of a certain skin tone, I'm going to have different preferences and feelings on things based upon my skin tone. So just keep that in mind when I'm talking about these. I'm not trying to shade Charlotte. I have plenty of stuff from Charlotte. We actually testing out Charlotte's blush palette against another blush palette right now, so I clearly have no problem buying from her. It's just more of, you know, I feel like she's not always as inclusive as she could be with her products, and since she wasn't, I was gonna make sure I shout out the e.l.f. one because they came through the gate being inclusive with enough colors for everybody, or a decent amount of colors for people with my skin tone, as other people don't normally like to do. So that's why this is overrated to me, because the shade range is lacking, and e.l.f. came out the gate and let you know what time it was about being inclusive. Okay, next. The next product I have to talk about is a foundation. So, y'all, I have abused my Thread cosmetics, if you can't tell. Like, my top is like just disrespectfully broken. I don't know what happens to it. I guess because of the plastic of it is cheap, it like broke in my drawer with all my other foundations, because I just have a drawer full of foundations. You all might have seen it in my eyeshadow palette collection video, because they sit on top of my dresser. Anyway, here is the overrated versus underrated product. I feel like when this brand came out, a few people bought it and talked about it, but like I don't feel like it got the hype it should have got, because oh my god, y'all, like, girl, do you see how much of this I've used? Like, look at that. I've used quite a bit of this product. You see all that, girl? All that is gone. So I think I've used like half of mine up, just because I feel like this is such a great product for its price point. This thing is like 10 bucks. It's like your skin but better filter going on. The same way that this Huda Beauty, what is this? The faux filter skin finish buildable coverage foundation stick. I wear shade 500G Mocha in this, if anyone's curious. And then in the Thread one, I wear 130 medium warm golden. This foundation is so stunning. I like it just as much as I like this, but I feel like people don't talk about this like they should. I mean, I know what's her name, Coco Swatches talks about this a lot and was talking about how nice it was, but I feel like I haven't seen a lot of creators talking about this. I saw them do like their video on it when it first launched, like they do with everything else, and then it just kind of just disappeared. Include myself, I'm not even gonna front, but I use this quite a bit in day-to-day life and pictures and just wearing to work, because a lot of times when I'm getting ready for work and I'm in a rush, I don't necessarily feel like trying to pump out a liquid all the time, so I know I can grab this, smear it on my face, and I would look absolutely stunning, amazing, flawless. So that's why I'm raving about this. Aside from the fact it's like a $10 foundation that's just giving the same thing as Huda's giving you for like what, like 30 or 40 bucks. I think this is 32 or close to $40. So, and since she's Huda, like, you gonna hype it up, or you at least gonna try it and talk about it, because we know she's a popular brand. But I feel like this is just as good as it and doesn't get talked about as much as it should. So I was like, we're gonna talk about it today. Thank you. Going to talk about it today. I got a bag on the floor that I'm throwing this stuff in so I can make sure I keep up with it. Okay, so the next thing I have to talk about is underrated versus overrated are these two concealers. Now, I know this is a foundation and concealer, and this brand doesn't exist anymore. This is the Marc Jacobs Extra Shot in the shade Tan 330. Although I thought I heard that somebody else had bought the brand and they were gonna like continue with the product or something. I think I heard that Estee Lauder bought Marc Jacobs makeup brand and Tom Ford. Don't quote me because I'm not 100%, but you know, if they did, we'll see if they come out with some more stuff and what they come out with versus what he actually came out with. But I feel like this was hyped just because it was Marc Jacobs, and I feel like I don't hear many people talking about the lip bar, so that's why I want to accent this. I actually did a battle of this, comparing these side by side, so you can go check that out in the I'll try to remember to link the playlist above of my battle of the, because some of these things I have actually battled, some of these things I have not. So you can go and weed through and see if it was anything that you were interested in that I have battled these up against. I'm just talking about them real quickly throughout this video, or not so quickly. But next I have the what is this called? The Lip Bar Quick Conceal Caffeine Concealer. And it's supposed to have the caffeine just like this one's supposed to. It's in the shade Cinnamon 4.0. I really like this concealer. I know it's much smaller than this, but you're supposed to be able to use this as foundation and concealer. I bought it for concealer because, I mean, like, who buying a foundation this small? You have to be on drugs if you think I'm buying a foundation this small. And if I am, it must be a stick foundation. It's not going to be like a liquid foundation in this size, because for foundation and concealer this is awfully small. It doesn't say what the ounce size is on it. I guess it's on the box because it's not on the bottom of here, but I know this ounce size is 0.35, but that's okay because it's a concealer. And this is a really, really nice concealer that does an excellent job, but I just feel like people don't give the lip bar as much attention as they deserve. So I want to shout out this concealer because it's amazing. And I know everybody knew about the Marc Jacobs ones already because, you know, it's Marc Jacobs, but it's definitely overrated for what it is. I still really love it though. I actually have a backup of this at my house because I really like the color of this one. But you know, like I like this one just as much, and I know I can continue buying this one. I can go to Walmart and pick up this one, whereas the Marc Jacobs one doesn't even exist. So I wanted you to have an alternative if you were like me and really like the color of that concealer. The concealers look the same. Go watch the Battle of the video. Okay, now we got some powders. Then we're gonna do some blush, bronze, and highlighters, and then I'm gonna be done. So this video gonna be a little bit long. I didn't know where I was gonna go and how much I was gonna do, so excuse me. The next underrated versus overrated product, we have the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder in the shade Translucent Medium. I actually think they're getting rid of this. If I remember correctly, I thought I heard they were getting rid of this Born This Way powder collection. And then we have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Banana, loose setting powder in the shade Banana. That's what the color looks like. So the Too Faced one is a tad bit deeper than this one is, but I feel like both of these things are just excellent powders. Like, this powder is amazing for the price. You see how huge it is. It's in a huge Anastasia container, but these came out before Anastasia, so Anastasia actually topped it off their packaging. Anyway, I feel like this powder is just really nice, but again, nobody really talks about Wet n Wild anymore. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if they lost their inspiration or the person who's like coming up with a lot of their ideas for products, because I feel like they used to have really hot collections that people are always going out of the way to buy. Remember, they used to make the boxes of the whole collection and you could buy the whole PR box thing or whatever for like 50 bucks off their website. And it's like, I don't know what happened to that idea. I don't know if the person that came up with that idea left or what was going on, but it's like nobody really talks about them anymore. But this is an excellent powder. I feel like it's just as good as this expensive Born This Way powder. So I wanted to shout it out because, I mean, this is one of my favorite ones, and every time I go to declutter, I'm like, we're not decluttering that one. You know, I might get rid of some other drugstore powder, but this one gets to stay because the quality, the quantity, and the quality of this is just as good as this. And you need to hear about it, but because it's Too Faced, everybody's still gonna talk about it. Even if they just clowned it to talk about it, they're going to talk about it. They're not really going to talk about Wet n Wild anymore, though. Again, I don't know why. I think it's because they're on the Physicians Formula route, like I said earlier when I talked about their other powder. But it's like, they make good products. It's just, I don't know, for some reason they've fallen off and, you know, people just not feeling anymore. Y'all can comment down below and tell me if they had like some issue going on or something like that to where people ain't really vibing with them or what. I don't know, but next, underrated versus overrated, is the Soul Body Face and Body Bronzing Balm. I have the shade Dark, and then I have the Sun Kissed Bronzing Cream. This is the original one they came out with when they first came out in the shade Casino that I thought was going to work for me. It didn't work like I was hoping it would work, but I still have it because, you know, I paid for it, and I like to use it with my deeper colored powders because I have a couple of powder bronzers that are too deep. So what I'll do is I'll use this, and as you can see, I've dipped into it quite a bit. I'll use this with those because I know I can use this in the wintertime, put a bronzer on top, and it'll work for me. But if I try to use it in the summertime and be sun-kissed and bronze in the summertime, absolutely not. It barely shows up. And I was shocked because obviously it's in the shade Casino, and the powder Casino is so much deeper than this. So I was like, what are we doing here? Why are you calling this Casino? This is nowhere near Casino. I'm confused. But I feel like this is overrated for what it is, because there's so many other cream bronzers out there that just as nice, just like this one, this Soul Body one. I like this one a lot. They have the same smell to it, and you know, it's really nice. And the color for this one obviously works much better on me than the other one. I feel like this Casino color looks like more of a contourish type shade for a like medium skin tone, whereas this one actually looks like a bronzer for my skin tone. I know it looks a little close to my skin tone, but it works just fine as a bronzer. It's more pigmented when you put it on than it looks in the pan. But this stuff is amazing, and it's actually on sale on their website right now, so I'm hoping they're not getting rid of it, or maybe they just had too much stock because people aren't hyping it up like everybody's talking about the NARS one and the ABH one and all the other high-end brands. Was like, no, like, I know ColourPop launches a lot of stuff, but this is something you actually need to be talking about. This Soul Body face and body bronzing balm, it is amazing. Again, my shade is dark, and these, I think I would shade Laguna 4 and Laguna 5. So what they just did was they went in with the new collection they came out with this year and made Laguna for everyone. And it was just Laguna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have shades 4 and 5. I use 4 in the wintertime and I use 5 in the summertime to make sure it's deep enough, because I didn't know how deep it was going to go, and I was like, I wasn't risking it. So I just bought the 2 deepest shades to make sure that it worked out for me. Next underrated versus overrated product, I have the Charlotte Tilbury. Yeah, Charlotte Tilbury gonna be in her lot, because I got one more thing about her and then we'll be done. But this is the Hollywood Contour Wand Easy Contour. I have the shade medium deep. She loves to do like fair, light, and then medium deep, and then that be it. So it's like, I don't know what the tan people are supposed to do. I guess they just sort of deep with me, or like try to make the medium work. I don't know. But since it's the same thing, they just have to use whatever I use. Alongside this Milani Liquid Contour Conceal and Perfect, as they just put it on the Conceal and Perfect line apparently, because it's not concealer. But I have the shade 3 Toffee, so they only have 4 shades in this, and I feel like this shade is really similar to this shade, but the difference is I feel like for the price point, it's easy to get your hands on this, and to me this is just as nice as the Charlotte Tilbury one. But because she's Charlotte Tilbury, I feel like everybody's talking about this. I saw a couple people I do watch talking about this, and they said they liked it for what it was, and it was just as good as this for a drugstore product. But I haven't seen a whole bunch of people talk about this, and I'm like, more people need to be talking about this one, because it's like, since this one's always sold out anyway, you might as well just buy the Milani one and make that work for you. I really like the Milani one actually just as much as this one. I actually think I like this one a little bit better because of its price point, and this is currently on sale at Ulta for like $7 during their early Black Friday sale. So I'm like, I definitely recommend you try out this one. You just have to make sure you find the right shade for you. Toffee works for me, and then I just put the what do you call that brand, the Westman Atelier bronzer on top of it. Believe it or not, I know, right, this expensive $70-something bronzer on top of like a $10 cream contour, but I feel like they work best together, and this color pulls nicely with that bronzer, so that's what I like to use. This, I just feel like it's just so overrated, and it doesn't even do all that. But I guess because I feel like they don't have enough shades in it for people my skin tone, and that's always my issue with Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like the shade range isn't giving what it needs to be giving. I mean, she'll do it when it comes to foundations, I feel like, but it's like after that she like figured it out on your own, girl. I feel like, and I feel like she got better with bronzers, but that's because a lot of other brands were doing better with shades when it came to bronzers, so she knew she had to like bring it if she wanted you to spend the $48 on her bronzer. But I still feel like she can do better with that shade range too when it comes to the bronzers, because like the deepest shade to me isn't that deep. You'd have to check out some deeper content creators like Cocoa Swatches or Too Much Mouth or Neiman Tang to see how deep it runs, but I just feel like it doesn't run as deep as it could. So she's getting better when it comes to certain products. With certain products, I feel like she needs to be making more shades. For like this one, she needs like a deep to dark for people who are darker to actually be able to use this product. So I'm gonna need her to come a little bit better, a little more correct, and do a little better with these. But I feel like this is overrated considering you can now go get the Milani one for like $7 right now, and it's normally like 10. So I just say go with the Milani honestly, and not give her $40 for that. But you know, it's up to you. Do what you do. Okay, y'all, we got 3 more products left, and then I'm done. So we're gonna get into another bronzer. Now I know a whole bunch of people for millions of years are talking about how wonderful this bronzer was, but again, I couldn't try it for the longest time because it took forever for them to come out with one of my shades. And then when they finally did, I was like, y'all overhyped this for what? So if you saw my video on cult classic products that, you know, everyone else loves, and I hate that you should know what bronze I'm talking about already. I am talking about the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan in the shade Tantalize. So for many years he only had that one shade and nobody my skin tone could wear it. I was just like, okay, everybody raving about how wonderful this is. And then when I got it, I was like, it's not even all that. Like, why are y'all doing all that? Are you just excited because it's a bronzer in a giant pan? Like, why are we doing all that? Now the highlighter in a giant pan, the very first one he came up with, now that was fire. But I'm like, this is just, why did y'all rave about this the way you did? Did I miss it? Because it's like, I I use it now and it's fine, but I'm not like obsessed and enraptured in love with it like you all were. So I'm just confused as to why we were doing all that. Why were we doing all that? Anyway, so I got the Be Perfect Fahrenheit bronzer in the shade Spark. Now to me, this is similar to the Marc Jacobs one because to me they both have more of a contourish color than they do an actual bronze color. So I feel like if you put the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter on and you put this on top, you'd have a true like contour situation going on. So it's like, I feel like Be Perfect products don't get raved about a lot when it comes to face products. I mean, everybody talks about the Stacey Marie eye palettes and just their eyeshadow palettes in general, but I feel like people don't really talk about their face products. And I feel like their face products do an amazing job. So I'm gonna have another face product I'm gonna talk about for them in a minute. So I lied, so there's 3 more things, but this is what they look like side by side. As you can see, this one pulls definitely a little more cooler in the pan, whereas I feel like when this one, when you put it on, that's when it starts pulling cool. Because to me, this was never really a bronzer. I always felt like it was a bronzer contour mix, whereas this one to me just seems like a true like contour mix. And this one actually is deeper than this one, so I feel like this would be better if you're a little darker than I am or the same shade as I am and like a coolish looking contour. But Be Perfect products are definitely underrated when it comes to their face products. They have amazing highlighters, they have amazing blushes, they have amazing bronzers or contours, as you can see. So I feel like this is an underrated product that you need to try out. Now I don't necessarily like contour, I feel like there's a place for it, so this is actually a disappointing product to me. But the formula on it wasn't disappointing, it was just the fact that I feel like you shouldn't be classifying this as a bronzer when it's giving contour vibes. So, and this to me was just straight up overrated. Again, I don't know why y'all was raving about it so much. I was not really impressed with it. I was just like, oh, so you just, okay. Okay. Next, let's get the other Be Perfect thing out the way. So, underrated versus overrated. Again, I said their stuff is underrated. This blush is absolutely amazing. I actually put this on compared to something else, if I remember correctly, or I did it in a Main Chick Side Chick video where I talked about how amazing this blush is and how nice it is. And it's that baked gelée formula that the Hourglass uses, and I feel like it's just as nice as the Hourglass. This is the only Hourglass palette I have here. I have a couple more because over the years they've been trying to be more inclusive, if you will. This is the first one that they had that I caught on sale, and I think I got extra 20% off, which is the only reason I bought it to try. But as you can see, it has that same baked formula going on with it. I'm just using it to like show that the formulas are baked in the same. But I feel like this is just as good as the Hourglass one, and I don't hear anybody talking about the Be Perfect blushes, bronzers, or highlighters, and they're all amazing. It's just their bronzer wasn't the right color for me. But this blush is amazing. It's definitely underrated. I had an orange one I wanted to get, but I just, every time they send it to me from Beauty Bay, shows are broken and then they don't want to give me my money back. So it's like, I'm going to have to try to buy it from Be Perfect and hope it works out that way. But I feel like this blush is overhyped for what it is. That's why I've never bought a single Veneer blushes or really tried to deal with Veneer blushes, just because I feel like it's overhyped for what it is. It's a nice blush, but you know, like, so is the Be Perfect. Just be mindful about the Be Perfect. I feel like they're more pigmented than the Hourglass ones are. So it's like, it's going to give you more pigment off the bat than the Hourglass is. So just be mindful of that if you're going to buy this. It's going to be giving way more pigment than that one is. And that might not be something you're into. So I want you to be properly prepared. Okay, next. Underrated versus overrated. I feel like we all forgot about the Super Shock Cheek highlighters from ColourPop. This is the shade Guilty Pleasure. And when Jacqueline came out with these reflecting light putty highlighters, everybody just went crazy and was like, had to act like it's best thing since sliced bread. It's like, did you forget that ColourPop had these out a million years ago for $8? Like, did you forget that? Because I feel like you forgot that the way he was acting about like these, and she's talking about how they sold out and how it was so wonderful and all. It's like, but it's not even all that. This gives you 5.5 grams or 0.19 ounces, and the Super Shocks give you 0.15 ounces or 4.2 grams. So it gives you a little bit less, but I mean, like, this is $8 and I think these are like 29. So it's like, you paying her 29 for like 4 more grams. Like, no. These are actually currently 50% off, and then you get an extra 20% off with the code fall haul. If you watch JBeauty87 or if you follow my what is it, my community post tab, then you know that this is 70% off. I don't know how long sales last. I believe it said to the 17th on Morphe's website, because that's where her stuff is 50% off. Don't quote me, but yeah, like this one. And let me take the plastic out. So let me see if I can swatch them and see if the colors are similar. I don't feel like they're exact, but again, it's like, this is an $8 product and it has the same putty feel that hers has. So it's like, you doing all that and acting all excited over hers just because it's her, I'm assuming. And it's like, but ColourPop Ben did this, and that's what one of the things they're known for. So this is the ColourPop one right here, and this is Jacqueline's. Hers just looks that much more wet than the I said wet instead of moist because I know people don't like that word, but it's like it looks that much more wet as opposed to the ColourPop one. And the ColourPop one is $8 and you only get 4 ounces less product. So it's like you might as well buy 2 of the ColourPop ones and then you'll have double whatever hers is, and hers will be $29 and those 2 would only be $16. And then you can use the influencer's code for 10% off and, you know, call it a day. So it's like, to me, this is just overhyped for what it is. Like, I got mine at a steep discount, which is the only reason I have them. I got these part of the 40% off haul that they had, and I think they were already on sale, so I got mine at a good deal, and now you can get it like 70% off, so that would make it an amazing deal if you like the little bit more reflective that hers gives. I have like 3 shades. I have the gold one that's supposed to be similar to Trophy Wife. This is the more bronzy shade and Skylight, and then I have the one the rose gold one, because I really like rose gold highlighter if you all weren't aware, and I like to combine them with the LYS Beauty highlighter. So we're down to the last thing. So comment down below and let me know how you feel about this video, because I got a couple more coming, but I didn't know how y'all were gonna feel about the series, so I'm just putting a whole bunch of them together to, you know, like kind of test the waters and gauge and see how we're doing with that. But the last 2 I have to talk about. So this is overrated versus underrated. I have the Makeup by Tammy Cosmetics That's So Cheeky palette. I bought the one for, I think it's medium to deep shades, and then she has a light to fair, I believe, or is it fair to light, and I think this is, it might be fair to medium or fair to light, and then this one's supposed to be medium to deep, so like medium tan deep. But y'all know this is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Beautifying Face Palette. I have the shade medium deep. Of course, she loves to do that medium deep and then fair to light thing, and you know, that's it. So here's what both of these palettes look like. As you can see, they have a similar effect to them. Now, the highlighters in here aren't the same, but at least I don't think they are, because I feel like this one's more rose gold and this one's more classic gold, and whereas I feel like hers is more like a peachy gold and classic gold. So at least one of the highlights are matched up, because the gold one obviously would go with the gold one. And then the blushes, I feel like are more punchy in Tammy's palette than this one. I feel like this palette is so underrated. I'm actually battling both these palettes on my face right now, so you can tell me which side you like better. But like, I really like Tammy's palette, and I feel like for what this is, like, it's not all that. I mean, I'm glad she actually came up with a shade for people my skin tone this time, but this one is like the goal for me. Like, I have dug into this rose gold highlighter so much. I absolutely love it. It is stunning. And then the gold is really nice in here. Now, keep in mind, these blushes are way more pigmented than Charlotte Tilbury. Like, when you pick up a little bit, it's gonna give you quite a bit of pigment, so just be mindful of that when you're using this. There is way more pigment in these than there is the Charlotte Tilbury one, but obviously because her formula is baked, that's why. And Tammy's highlighter is much more glittery than Charlotte's is. Y'all know Charlotte always wants to give you a subtle effect when it comes to everything, so it's going to be nice and subtle, and you'll have to build up quite a bit if you want the pigmentation. But if you want the pigmentation off the bat, I would say get Tammy's. Otherwise, if you're going to get Tammy's just because of the price point versus Charlotte's, you need to use the Light Ham and Tammy's palette. Just be mindful of that. I haven't seen her brand come out with anything in a while, so I'm like wondering what's going on, if she's behind the scenes making us another eyeshadow palette. Like, what's going on, Tammy girl? We need to see. Okay, I need all to see. But so these are all the things I had to talk about that are overrated versus underrated in my personal opinion. So let me know what you think down below and if you agree. Y'all know the next videos are gonna be mainly like highlighter based. I got a couple more bronzers and stuff to talk about that I feel like are underrated versus overrated, and a couple more face products. So I'll start off with those in the next video too, and then like the next the next video after that will strictly be eyeshadow palettes. But let me know what you think down below about this video and this concept, because I thought it was interesting and unique, and it might get you hyped onto some other products if you're tired of watching my side chick makeup. I still have a couple more of those coming, and then I'm thinking about maybe just airing that series out and letting it die off, if you will, and just sticking to this underrated versus overrated thing. But you all can let me know down below what you think. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you're all the dimes, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye. Oh, by the way, if you're curious to know what's on my eyes, I have on the Killer Purr palette. I just gave y'all a video about why you need to buy the Kylie versus the Kylie X the Wizard of Oz collection, because you know it just looks like the Killer Purr palette. And exciting news, they're coming out with a new Killer Purr palette for the holidays, which is why they discontinued the original one. So if you have the original one, you might want to just pull it out and use that, and forget about the Kylie Cosmetics palette, because I'm telling y'all, they look so similar, it's ridiculous. I feel like the look I came up with, you come up with on that palette. But if you want to watch some creators that actually bought the palette or still get Kylie Cosmetics PR, then go ahead and do that. But like I said, Remember you all the diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Comment down below and let me know how you like the series, as if we could continue it. Be blessed, girl. Bye.